A 15-year civil war in what's now the African nation of Zimbabwe is the setting of a very powerful memoir. Hamilton author George Matuvi joins us now with more on his story, The War as I Saw It, in Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, through the eyes of a black boy. And you wrote this because somebody was asking you, what was it like living in that civil war as you were growing up? And you kind of were born into the war, but you were telling me that it was kind of in another part of the country and it didn't really impact you until it did.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. So the war moved from the east to the kind of to the center of the country at that time, and in the beginning, we just heard of the war, and to me as a young boy, my father was listening to the radio and all this kind of thing, and I just thought, yeah, it's the war somewhere else, until it really reached the area. And on the day when the actual freedom fighters arrived at our village, you know, it was one of those things you don't forget that much. You know, first time when you see a group of men carrying guns coming in, and I describe it in the book. You know, for me, I pretty much was lost as to what is going on right now. Yeah. So. And
your father was kind of like the target because your family ran a really important spot in your village, a store.
Right. Yes. So that's why they actually came there first, because they came, when they come into these areas, they would come in and stay in the mountains and watch the village from the mountains, and they target a place. So since since we had a shop, they came directly there, because also they wanted supplies. You know, so they would want cigarettes, they would want things like, you know, drinks, and sometimes, you know, they would want caffeinol. Caffeinol is a pill for, you know, like headache pill. So they would want some stuff like that. So then they came there directly to introduce themselves, to say, hey, we are here in the area. So, you know, yeah, it was a tricky thing for, not just for me, also just for the whole family.
Right.
Yeah.
And how the family was kind of caught in the middle. Like, you don't take sides at all in the book. It's just a matter of fact. There are government forces, there are these freedom fighters as well. But it's just, it's your experiences of, like, playing soccer with a ball made from plastic bags.
Yes. So, yeah, so intentionally, I wanted to just bring it out to, you know, some of the kids living here don't understand, you know, sometimes when other kids will live in war-torn areas, how they feel. I wanted to bring that feeling out for what did I feel about the war as a kid. I know there were, you know, sides. My father was kind of caught in between as well, but it wasn't really like, for me, it wasn't like I want to take this side or who's right or who's wrong. For me, it was just a matter of day-to-day survival kind of thing, you know, when the war actually kicked in. Yeah.
And did you write this, like, you wrote it almost like, as I was reading it, I'm like, this is George talking to me as like an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old kind of thing. Did you write it that way, hoping that children would understand it better?
Yes. So the trigger originally for the book was my son was asking me about, you know, how did you grow up in Zimbabwe, and, you know, I used to explain to him different types of, you know, things that we did, but when we came to the part about the war, he was struggling with it a little bit, and he said, you know, can you explain more? He kept asking. Then I thought, you know what, let me write something down for him. So then, you know, with this, I wanted other kids to realize that, you know, especially kids who live in countries where there's no war, to realize that, you know, yeah, we have it better here than somebody else who would live in a war-torn area. Right.
And I think it's a great example for everyone to read, adults and children, so that you get a sense of what victims of war go through. George, thanks so much for writing this book. We'll get the link on where you can get it, The War as I Saw It by George Matuvi. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you very much.